this is the setup for a room. Please take your 18-inch ruler and line up opposite corners and make a very large, light pressured X, and then put a dot in the center. Then what you're going to do is from that center point outward toward each corner, you're going to make a mark at 3 inches. Again, this is sped up, so I would probably want you to slow this down or watch this once and then pause the video and do each step. After you make the measurements, you're going to take your ruler and connect those 4 marks or measurements, making 2 vertical and 2 horizontal lines, so you have a smaller rectangle that's in proportion to the bigger rectangle of the paper. And then take a Sharpie and make a small dot the size of a point or a period at the end of a sentence for the vanishing point. Now you have to make a decision. Do you want your paper to be vertical or horizontal? I'm going to, for the purpose of just keeping it easy, keep my paper horizontal, but you can turn it. And then I want you to label the areas so you know where everything is located. The back wall is the rectangle that we just created. The side wall are the 2 shapes on the right and the left. The floor is at the bottom area. The ceiling's at the top. The lines represent that corner that separates each area. Now you can stop the video at this point, and if you'd like to go ahead and watch any other videos on YouTube about 1-point perspective rooms, feel free. If you're continuing to watch here, you're just going to see me make some beds, some basic furniture like dressers or cabinets, some windows and doors that are all drawn in 1-point perspective. In some areas, I am going to intentionally make mistakes and do things wrong so that you can see that they're wrong, and then I'm going to show you what I do to make corrections. So decide if you want to stop the video now, that's totally fine, and find other sources, or you can go ahead and continue. It's totally up to you. Now, if you're doing a room, most of the time when we practice, I always have people do a bedroom. And first you want to decide what kind of bed you want and what side of the room that you want it on, or do you want it in the middle? And then what you're going to do is after you draw the shape, you're going to draw all possible corners to the vanishing point. So this is still the same as the regular 1-point perspective you would have learned with me already. Again, please use light sketching pressure, and I think it's easier if you do this with a mechanical pencil. Now I'm intentionally going to make a mistake on this bed. I want you to notice right there, I'm showing you the 2 areas where the orthogonals I think it's actually called, intersect the back wall to the floor and the back wall to the side wall. And what I did is I intentionally drew the bed too long and made it go into the back wall, hence making it look like it's floating. And now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go back to where I should have actually drawn it, and I'm actually going to make it a little lower so that you can see that I made it thinner, and now it's going to look like it's on the floor, and then I'm going to erase all the extra lines that I shouldn't have put in, but I did to show you my mistake on purpose. And then I'm redrawing the line between the side wall and the back wall. Now I'm also going to do the same thing with this side bed. I'm going to make the vertical line right there, or a little bit ahead of the line that connects the back wall, or separates, the back wall from the floor. I make the vertical and the horizontal, and then I erase the extra orthogonal lines or receding lines, and then I erase all the inside details because those objects are now blocking our view of the line that separates the side wall from the back wall. So the first thing I'm going to do is make you put in a bed if you're going to do a bedroom. Now here what I'm doing is I'm realizing that this bed, the edge was too close to the vanishing point, which made it look a little odd. So what I did is I just shortened the bed a little bit, and I redrew that third side, and I shaded it in just so you could see it a little bit better. It is a thin sliver of a shape, but it is drawn correctly in 1-point perspective. After you make a bed, the next thing I'm going to have you guys do is do some kind of dresser, again, just to keep our shapes that are eventually going to be 3D objects simple, so rectangular prisms or cubes or boxes. So this particular dresser is going to be on the ground. It's farther back in the room, And if you look right now, I marked where the back of the dresser would be meeting the back wall. That gave me a guide as to where I was going to put the vertical line, and then I turn the ruler because that connects to make the top of the dresser. These are two other kinds of objects that could be dressers or bookcases or desks, but again, the same idea is you draw the shape, make sure the bottom line of the shape is on the floor, that it's not in the wall. Then you draw all possible lines to the vanishing point using sketching pressure. As soon as you get the idea, you don't have to draw the full line all the way to the vanishing point. As you can see, I'm also trying to point out that there's a little bit of a gap of space between the wall and the object. Then where I should be, if I want the object to look like it's up next to the back wall, draw the vertical line, and then I kind of scooch in a little bit. And then I erase the extra lines, and where it is now blocking my view, I'm going to erase the internal details because now we're dealing with solid objects, not see-through objects. This small object is going to be a dresser or one of those side tables that sometimes you'll see next to beds. So I still started it the same way. I made all possible corners to the vanishing point, and then right now I finished making the vertical and horizontal line to close it up. On this one, I went back to this other object. I used the vanishing point to make the separation of the drawers. If I want to find the middle of an object or a side, I make an X inside of it. That just helps me make the exact middle, and then after making that X, I made a vertical line. So you can see I made shelves there. Here I'm zooming in because I'm going to make this smaller one like a little side table. So I'm going to make legs, or like, I don't know how to word it, but like the internal area of a leg. So I made a couple of vertical lines, and now I'm making a horizontal line going in, and that's just helping it to, again, show more detail and make it look more 3D. The rest of the video has me doing objects either on the back wall, so doors and windows or posters, which is really easy because on the back wall all you're going to do is rectangles or squares. Again, when you do doors, you usually want them to be above eye level, and some doors have like a border around them of molding or crown molding, so that's what I'm doing right here. You don't have to do that on all of your doors, but anything on the back wall are just squares and rectangles. So if you want to do windows, doors, posters, anything like that, you could do it that way with vertical and horizontal lines. If something is on the side walls or on the ceiling or on the floor, you do a combination of vertical lines and orthogonals or orthogonals for the side walls. And on the ceiling and floor, you would do a combination of orthogonals and horizontal lines. So what I usually do is I decide how tall I want my object to be. Then I make the top of it with the top of it with the vanishing point, and then draw the receding line, and then I draw the second vertical line. What I did for the door I just completed on the left is I realized it was crooked, so I went back over it and I erased it and redrew it. With this door, I'm showing that the view of the door is going out of my view off the paper, and I'm trying to make it look more like a hallway. So what I did was, after I made the first part of the door from the internal corner at the top, I made a horizontal line, and then at the bottom I made another horizontal line, and I erased the line that separated the sidewall from the floor so that you could see it looks like it's going outward like a hallway. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to just use the vanishing point to make the top and the bottom of the windows, and then I use vertical lines to separate the windows. I'm just darkening them in just so you could see my steps a little bit more. And again, whenever you're doing anything on the side walls, it's a combination of vertical lines and orthogonals. When you're doing something on the ceiling or the floor, it's a combination of horizontal lines and orthogonals or receding lines. Right now I'm doing a flat screen TV that is on the wall, so I did a combination of vertical lines, or I'm sorry, two small horizontal lines to make the thickness of the TV, and then the vertical line to finish it off. I'm also putting in the screen, and I realized that the side of it was a little crooked, so I readjusted it. Here on these windows, I'm trying to make them look like they cut in, so there's depth to them. So I make a horizontal line to just kind of make the depth that I want. I used the vanishing point to make the receding line for the inside top and inside bottom of the window. And then I use the vertical line to make that inside side of the window. Some of the things that I'm drawing, sometimes they're hard to explain. It's like a student will ask me a question and I'll draw it for them because sometimes it's hard to explain what I'm doing. And then once they see it, it makes sense. So again, I'm going to just let you guys know, feel free to watch somebody else's videos when there's something specific you want to watch, maybe, or learn how to do. Maybe they have a better method for explaining the idea. Again, this is not a video I'm probably going to keep up on YouTube long. It's just one of those videos I'm trying to get together for sub-plans, so that way you have a beginning place to start. So I'm going to be doing a couple of ceiling, these could either be for ceiling tiles or for like ceiling lights or for like ceiling windows. Again, I drew 3 horizontal lines and I used the ruler to line them up. Then I turn my ruler and I'm lining up the bottoms of the windows with the horizontal lines, and then I'm cleaning up all the extra little details. So hopefully if you have any questions, you can let me know in class, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.